Across the vast forests and savannas in the rich lands of Africa, two African tribes competed for one of the most beautiful and fertile areas on Earth, the Ngorongoro Crater, known for its habitats, green lands, and abundant water. Battles occurred in various ways, and nature was used as a weapon in the fight, as the power of nature could be a strong and furious ally. Only the sound of wind and the rustling of leaves witnessed the calm moments that preceded the chaos. At a time when technology did not exist, natural resources were worth fighting for, and to control them, only one tribe could remain. At that time, the Datogos tribe, in their quest to dominate the Maasai, resorted to a war tactic that would remain in memory for generations, where wild predatory animals were used as weapons of destruction. Lions and leopards, those majestic creatures that ruled the savanna, were turned into tools of mass destruction. They were captured, starved, and enraged, then released near enemy villages to devour anyone who crossed their path. Nevertheless, the Maasai, the most famous tribe in Africa, continued to grow and flourish. Today, environmental reserves and non-governmental organizations near Ngorongoro preserve not only the local wildlife, but also the stories that made this land culturally rich thanks to the remnants of its deadly past. Returning to the thrilling events of that epic battle, the Ngorongoro Crater, with its towering edges and deep valleys, is one of Africa's greatest natural wonders. This volcanic caldera lies in northern Tanzania, not far from the Kenyan border, and is connected to the famous Serengeti region. It is a miniature model of wildlife and an ecosystem almost untouched by human hands. To understand the scale of the conflict that arose in this land during the 19th century, one must appreciate the geography of Ngorongoro, for it was ultimately what was being fought over. Formed around 2.5 million years ago due to a catastrophic event that forever shaped the region's landscape, the cone of a massive volcano collapsed after erupting. Thousands of years later, this place transformed into a stunning environment that is home to incredibly powerful animals. Forests cover the edges of the crater, while its interior consists of a mosaic of habitats, including vast grasslands, swamps, and rivers. Today, safari lovers visit the place as an escape from Africa's usual landscapes. Among the tribes that made the Ngorongoro Crater their home, two stood out due to their influence and power: the Maasai and the Datogos. The Maasai were known for their bravery and skills as cattle herders, as well as excellent warriors and trackers. They inhabited the rims and plains surrounding the crater. They lived in harmony with nature, revered cattle as a primary source of sustenance and a symbol of wealth, and their customs were deeply rooted in tradition, maintaining a symbiotic relationship with the land they inhabited. On the other hand, the Datogos had a culture of dominance. They were known for subjugating smaller tribes and merging their lands and resources. Their society was organized in a strict, quasi-military manner with a class system defining every individual's role, and harsh punishments for those who broke the rules. It is said that the Datogos were ruthless, and that some of them practiced cannibalism, a habit that terrified their neighbors and contributed to their fearsome reputation. This battle and historical event dates back to the early 19th century, between around 1801 and 1810, when the need for more natural resources and the search for fertile lands intensified intertribal conflicts. For many years prior, the Maasai and Datogos lived in relative peace, separated by the vastness of the crater and its natural boundaries. But fate changed when a series of severe droughts forced both tribes to expand their territories in search of water and pasture. The first clash between the Maasai and Datogos occurred during a time of extreme scarcity. The Maasai, led by their chief, advanced toward the central regions of the crater, where the Datogos, under the command of a leader more like a general, had already established a presence and had no intention of sharing the space. Initially, the encounter between the two tribes was an attempt to negotiate. The Maasai chief acknowledged the strength and fierceness of the Datogos and proposed a peace agreement to share the resources. However, the Datogos leader, confident in the superiority of his warriors, rejected the proposal, seeing the Maasai's approach as an opportunity to expand his reach and strengthen his hold over the crater. Datogos warriors launched swift and brutal attacks on Maasai villages, using guerrilla tactics to destabilize and weaken them. In response, the Maasai, renowned for their combat prowess and unshakable courage, organized a series of defenses and counterattacks. But the situation quickly escalated and reached its peak in a direct confrontation between the two leaders. After failed negotiations, things spiraled out of control and culminated in a decisive battle on the banks of the contested river. Despite their bravery, the sheer force and numbers of the Datogos overwhelmed the Maasai. Their chief was seriously injured, and the Maasai were forced to retreat. However, the Datogos had no intention of returning to their territory. They pursued the fleeing population and then resorted to using the most terrifying predators in the savanna as weapons of death. Capturing and handling lions and leopards requires a mixture of courage, skill, and cruelty. The animals were taken to makeshift enclosures, closed huts located far from the tribe, isolated and hidden from Maasai patrols. These enclosures were dark and cramped, built to restrict the animals' movements. Most were leopards, as confronting a pride of lions would have been madness. However, some young lions, recently separated from their prides and still honing their skills, were also included. The Datogos kept the predators captive for several days without food. The hunger growls echoed through the night, increasing the psychological terror among the native population, who were aware that these beasts were nearby. What made these predators even more vicious was a horrific tactic the Datogos used, feeding them small amounts of human flesh from victims in neighboring oppressed villages. This cruel method had a clear goal: to make the predators develop a taste for human meat. These animals had now become more savage than ever, ready to be wielded as weapons of terror the Datogos had planned to unleash on the Maasai. At dawn, once the big cats were somewhat calmed, Datogos warriors led the blindfolded leopards to the outskirts of the Maasai villages, tying trails of meat toward the villages focused on their daily routines. The horror that followed was inevitable. The first signs of the attack were the screams of the victims, mostly children enjoying their free time while adults worked in the fields. Even the elders were attacked. The Maasai were caught off guard. When they heard the cries of their people, they rushed home, only to find the massacre had already occurred. Victims were seriously wounded, and some lost their lives. The Maasai initially thought it was an accident, but upon examining the bodies of the predators, they noticed signs of captivity and realized that the horrific scene was orchestrated by their enemies. Anger began to fuel the hearts of the Maasai, and the worst was yet to come. Though the Datogos' strategy was brutal and effective, the Maasai realized they had to prepare to face a ruthless enemy, and they were ready. Their resilience could not be underestimated. So they began to devise a response to this unusual threat, fully aware of the need for effective defenses against lion and leopard attacks. The Maasai developed a strategy that used nature itself for protection, inspired by the idea of using animals to divert the predator's attention. They began capturing herbivores like zebras and antelopes that were abundant in the region. These harmless animals were kept trapped along village paths to serve as bait for the hungry predators, effectively putting an end to the Datogos' vile plan. After being used as weapons, the starving predators continued participating in the intertribal conflict, attacking both the Maasai and the Datogos. Despite their fear, the Datogos started to realize that their victory wouldn't come as easily as they had imagined. The battle for the Ngorongoro crater intensified, and the fate of both tribes hung in a fierce struggle that defied the laws of nature. The Maasai realized that to win, they could not rely solely on defense. They needed to take the fight into enemy territory and dismantle the Datogos base. With help from allied tribes, the Maasai began planning a series of coordinated attacks on Datogos villages, using intelligence and terrain knowledge to their advantage. Thanks to their natural ability to move quickly across rugged lands, the Maasai launched surprise midnight attacks on Datogos positions. Fleeing into the savanna was extremely dangerous, especially since lions were most active at night. Any unplanned escape could mean death at the paws of the king of the jungle. The Datogos village, once thought to be safe, was caught off guard. The Maasai and their allied tribes proved ruthless in their pursuit of victory. The war reached its climax when the Maasai managed to capture the Datogos chief. Surrounded and threatened, he revealed his selfish nature and ordered his warriors to surrender. The Maasai ended their enemy's legacy, including their leader. As for the warriors who pledged to repent, they were given two choices: leave the Ngorongoro crater or completely abandon their Togolese customs and either build a new culture or ally with a smaller tribe. Some left and some stayed. They did whatever it took to ensure the Maasai victory would become a moment of great celebration, having overcome a massive threat and securing the survival of their people and culture. The battles left deep scars, and the price of victory was high. Many warriors fell, and villages were destroyed. The name Ngorongoro emerged from this turbulent period in honor of an elderly Maasai man who tended the cattle while the warriors fought for the village. Ngorongoro means cowbell in the Maasai language. Since cattle are considered a divine gift by the Maasai, the name honored the man who cared for their most sacred asset while the young men were at war. Although the true origin of the name Ngorongoro remains uncertain, some believe it refers to the Maasai warriors' battle cries as they charge the enemy. Today, only the Maasai tribe remains in the Ngorongoro area, but their culture and way of life have significantly evolved. The old nomadic lifestyle and ancient traditions have given way to a more stable life, influenced by modern economic and social forces. Many Maasai now live in permanent villages, their herding practices modernized, and they've joined conservation efforts to help protect the local wildlife. While the Ngorongoro crater remains one of the most magnificent and beautiful places in Africa, the Maasai continue to be its guardians, honoring the memories of their ancestors and ensuring the legacy of Ngorongoro lives on for future generations. He was called the Grey-Eyed, the terrifying lion whose deadly gaze takes your breath away. He became famous in Kruger National Park as the most skilled lion in hunting, expansion, and land acquisition. He is Maposa, the lion with an eye-colored gray close to blue, which stirred much speculation. Most agreed it was a congenital defect called glaucoma that affected this powerful lion and gave him his distinctive appearance. Nonetheless, his condition did not prevent him from venturing out, challenging other strong rival lions, setting off to claim territories without fear, raiding herds, or being an extremely skilled hunter. Let us go back in time to around the year 2016, when the first real recorded sighting of Maposa occurred. He had formed an alliance with another lion, and they roamed the Klaseri Nature Reserve. Their sighting was documented for the first time then, and it is believed they were about 4 or 5 years old at that time. Despite being merely fierce young cubs, they managed to take over the area and expel 3 older and more experienced lions, known as the Trilogy Coalition. After being forced out of their usual territory, two members of the coalition continued to appear regularly in the northern part of the Thornybush Nature Reserve. Maposa and his companion later took over the Monwana Pride. Shortly after, a deadly encounter with a massive and aggressive buffalo led to the death of one of the trilogy males, who had wandered far from his previous territory. After eliminating the trilogy male, the two Maposa lions asserted their dominance over the former coalition's territory by mating with the pride females who had remained. This period was ideal for the two lions to gain experience and strengthen their tactics in attack and hunting, as they settled happily and quietly in the eastern part of Klaserie for the following 2 years. In 2018, the Ross males infiltrated the reserve and took over the area controlled by the Maposa coalition. At the same time, Maposa and his companion had disappeared, and rumors circulated that Maposa had tried to flee and survive alone after being injured while trying to hunt a violent, massive buffalo. Shortly after, tour guides in the Thornybush Reserve began regularly spotting Maposa again. As usual, he was seen patrolling the central and eastern parts of the reserve, marking his territory and reaffirming his dominance over the new area. By the end of 2018, Maposa had succeeded in taking over the Avoca Pride, which usually resides on the eastern border between Thornybush and Timbavati. Shortly after, this powerful lion managed to father 6 new cubs within that pride. At this point, one of the trilogy males was seen, old and weak, still roaming the northern part of Thornybush. Although he seemed dominant in that northern area, he was later spotted wandering beyond his territory. It is believed that during one of these exploratory trips, he encountered Maposa, and it is assumed that they fought an extremely aggressive battle for dominance and to assert presence. The trilogy male was severely injured and eventually died due to complications and pain from those wounds. In late 2019, 2 new young male lions appeared in Thornybush, known as the Shikukutsu males. Strangely, after monitoring, they were seen with Maposa without any conflict among them. On the contrary, the 3 males formed a new coalition, bolder, more violent, and eager to expand, launching raids deep into the northern parts of the reserve. The young Shikukutsu males were considered extremely strong and impressively skilled hunters. Their great boldness confirmed their dominance in northern Thornybush, and they are now fearlessly exploring the far south. Although Maposa was with the 2 Shikukutsu males, he preferred to remain alone, specifically in the northern half of the reserve, where he ventured alone to assert his control over the borders. Eventually, he was found mating with 2 lionesses from the Monwana Pride, indicating that he would soon father cubs and continue to assert his dominance over the area, thereby re-establishing his expansion zones in the near future. Nevertheless, nothing is guaranteed in the harsh wilderness, where even the mightiest beasts must face numerous crises and adapt to death that lurks everywhere. The wild has proven, through many coalitions, how hard it is for lions to remain dominant forever. They must accept the reality of weakness, aging, or the risk of injuries and diseases that often claim the lives of even the most resilient lions in the vast, dangerous, trap-laden lands of Africa. Wild world where strength and cunning rule, a name echoed like a legend among the predators. It was Sultan, the lion no enemy dared to challenge, an absolute king who ruled with an iron fist, surrounded by a group of lionesses ready to serve him at every moment. But in a world where thrones are won through blood and fierce battles, could the tides shift into a nightmare that topples even the strongest kings from their mighty thrones? So let us delve today into the story of a living legend, the story of Sultan the Lion, who alone led 16 lionesses and crushed enemies with his might and ferocity. Get ready, because this story will take you on a journey full of surprises and excitement. In the depths of northwestern Ethiopia, where secrets lie nestled within untouched nature, stands Alatash National Park, one of the most remote and mysterious areas on Earth. For many years, this region remained an unsolved enigma, hiding within its vast landscapes secrets untouched by human hands. In 2016, the unexpected happened. Led by scientist Hans Bauer from the Born Free Foundation, researchers confirmed the astonishing discovery of a previously unknown group of lions living in this isolated land, estimated to number between 100 and 200 lions. These majestic predators roam the Alatash area and the nearby Dinder National Park in Sudan. Despite confirming their presence, observing these lions remains a major challenge to this day, especially due to limited funding, the vast size of the area, and the small number of rangers who often lack the necessary equipment. In addition, the park's geographical isolation makes continuous monitoring nearly impossible, leaving many mysterious events unfolding there. But in 2018, an unexpected report revealed something extraordinary. On a quiet morning, during a routine patrol, a local ranger noticed something unusual at a short distance: a majestic male lion, notable not only for his powerful presence, but also for the 16 impressive females following him with unwavering loyalty. Lions are rare in this area, so how could one male control such a large number of females? The scene was unusual by every standard. Fascinated by this rare pride, the ranger decided to investigate further. He noticed the lionesses were highly organized, moving in harmony and showing complete loyalty to their male leader. This unique behavior impressed the rangers, who gave the lion the name Sultan. But the bigger question remained: how did Sultan manage to gather such a large number of lionesses in an area where lions are few? The mystery began to unfold when a pair of strong young lions appeared in Sultan's territory. These were nomadic lions searching for an opportunity to seize a pride of their own, and Sultan's lionesses were a highly tempting prize, but Sultan was always one step ahead. From his hiding place among the acacia trees, he observed the invaders' movements carefully. Unlike most lions who roar to intimidate rivals, Sultan was patient. He didn't attack out of rage. He planned with great wisdom and clear cunning. The lionesses, for their part, showed no panic. They moved naturally, as if unaware of the danger, but this was all part of the strategy. So when the two nomadic lions separated, Sultan seized the opportunity. He moved like a silent shadow and charged at the first lion with lightning speed. The strike was powerful and decisive. He brought the intruder to the ground in moments. The strength Sultan displayed was astounding, making it impossible for his opponent to withstand. When the second lion heard the roar of battle, he rushed to help his companion. But upon seeing the first lion lying motionless, he chose to flee, realizing that facing Sultan meant certain death. In this way, Sultan once again proved he was an unbeatable king, and even after reinforcing his dominance, he refused to rest. In the wild, where strength is the law, there is no place for the weak. This lion was a living legend. Each day, his majestic presence could be seen confidently walking the borders of his territory, watching every inch of the land under his control. His vigilant eyes scanned the horizon, and any suspicious movement was enough to put him on high alert. As the months passed, Sultan continued to prove why he was a feared leader. Time and time again, he stopped nomadic lions from trespassing into his domain and drove them away, demonstrating his unmatched power and undisputed rule. But something began to draw the attention of the rangers observing the pride from afar. As the cubs grew, they noticed a strange pattern. All the cubs were female. Not a single male cub was born into Sultan's coalition. This discovery intrigued researchers because it diverged from the natural pattern. Statistically, the ratio of male to female lion cubs is about 30% males to 70% females. But here, the situation was entirely different. A new theory began to emerge. What if Sultan hadn't gathered all those lionesses over time? What if the females were actually the same ones from the original pride he had conquered? In large prides, it's expected that at least one male would appear in every litter. But in Sultan's case, that never happened, and it couldn't simply be a coincidence. Over time, the pride grew to 22 lionesses, 16 adults and 6 cubs, with signs of maturity starting to appear. Some lionesses were pregnant again, and the next few months would be crucial to understanding whether this pattern would continue. But fate had another surprise in store. This time, the danger didn't come in the form of a rival lion, but as hyenas. During a night patrol, Sultan found himself surrounded by a large pack of ravenous, furious hyenas. He was alone, yet he fought fiercely for his life. He managed to bring down several hyenas, but the wounds he sustained were severe, most of them fatal. As days passed, his wounds became infected, and fever consumed his body. He could no longer move as he once did. The lion, who once walked proudly, had become limping, dragging his legs painfully across the dry land. The lionesses tried to approach him, but the presence of a weak leader no longer comforted them. Sultan, the lion who was once a symbol of power, had become a shadow of what he used to be, a timeless tale etched into the landscape. Eventually, Sultan died, and with his departure, the lionesses remained together for a while, awaiting the arrival of a new male to take his place. But no lion came. The region was not crowded with nomadic males, and without a new leader, the pride's separation was inevitable. When the new cubs were born, only 3 survived, and the surprise? All of them were female again. The theory was confirmed. Perhaps Sultan was a majestic lion, a strategist, and an unbeatable warrior. But his lineage was unusual. He left behind no male heirs to carry on his legacy. Though this theory continues to fascinate researchers, it has not yet been fully confirmed. Scientists are still studying the phenomenon, trying to determine whether this pattern is repeating in other lion populations. Sultan's story does not end with his death. It is a story of unanswered questions, where mystery cloaks his legacy. He was one of the most exceptional lions in that region, leaving behind an army of females who later spread across the savanna in search of new kings. Africa, where nature, predators, prey, and everything hidden from sight reside, where ambushes are frequent to pounce on any prey that quenches the hunger and thirst of the land. Among all that might terrify you during your safari journey, there once appeared a lion known to be the most beautiful among lions, with a massive body and a black mane that extended down to his belly. His magnificence made him seem like a lion escaping from mythical stories. He is Calamus, the wandering lion, beloved by lionesses and the Don Juan of Tanzania's vast wilderness. This lion, born around the year 2010 near the Ngorongoro crater, which is part of the Serengeti Reserve in Tanzania, has a largely unknown origin and ancestry. Interestingly, he had a majestic personality that embodied the strength of the animal kingdom. He was granted an unmatched massive body, with an impressive mane that gave him an extraordinarily beautiful presence. This led all rangers, wildlife lovers, and thrill seekers to follow the news of this wonderful lion throughout his life, with his unusual genes, strongly resembling the terrifying Barbary lion. When King Calamus was seen in 2014 by the Kopi lion group, they were shocked to see this massive beast with his long, dark, rare mane that covered his elbows down to his belly. At that time, he was around 4 years old, active and extremely attractive. Calamus was the first name given to him by the Kopi lion team, which means the trickster in English, due to his ability to skillfully evade cameras and tracking devices. Since the discovery of this fascinating lion, the Tanzanian research team decided to follow him in his travels. Calamus spent 2014 as a solitary nomadic lion wandering across the vast reserve areas, remaining cautious to avoid attacks from male coalitions ruling nearby territories, while attempting to join female prides spread across the reserve. Indeed, Calamus rarely encountered problems with females, given his impressive physical build and his previously mentioned talent for stealth and avoiding harm from widespread and dangerous male coalitions. His strong body and vitality also aided him in hunting, as it wasn't difficult for him to take down large prey. Calamus also wanted to have his own territory. Due to the large coalitions living in the Ngorongoro crater, Calamus had to find a strong partner to form his own coalition, enabling him to defeat rival coalitions competing for food and territory. Nearby lived some powerful lions referred to as the lake lions, whose roars were sometimes heard across the reserve. However, Calamus, clever and tricky, ignored them. Once, he even had the audacity to stay in the crater with one female for 3 days before walking back up the steep crater slope and out to the open plains of the Ngorongoro Reserve. He managed to stay safe and away from trouble, despite being surrounded by Maasai Mara herders who used to kill lions that approached their livestock. Later, Calamus managed to form a coalition with another male known as Blaze. Some thought he was his brother due to their close resemblance in appearance and size, although Calamus was larger. The two roamed the crater and mated with females, especially those from the Nyumba and Dogo area. Calamus and Blaze were both powerful and remarkable examples, undoubtedly capable of fighting for land and pride. After a few months, they had an entire pride of females, but Calamus, being a habitual wanderer, wasn't content with one location for mating and spreading his genes. So, he continued his journey throughout the area, especially in the lands between Lake Eyasi, the Arusha region, and the Serengeti Reserve in general. Sadly, Blaze was later found dead and is believed to have been killed by herders or poachers in the area. Calamus was deeply saddened by his death and rarely appeared or roamed the area again, living a solitary life far from the regions where the Kope lion team was used to seeing him. He was last seen in 2019, and everyone believes he passed away due to the many months without a sighting, especially since the guides knew how difficult it was to locate Calamus, who was always on the move. But years later, a strange and large lion was spotted, missing his mane. His identity wasn't confirmed at first, but the curiosity of the guides led them to capture him, place a GPS tracker on his neck, and collect hair samples for testing. The test results confirmed the lion's identity. It was indeed Calamus, especially as the tracker showed the same paths Calamus used to take. The team did not know why he had lost his mane, but most speculated it was due to grief after losing his brother or coalition mate, or the pressure and danger posed by other powerful allied lions. Fortunately, his hair began to grow back after a few months, and his distinctive and magnificent appearance returned, with the black mane once again extending down to his belly. He was last seen with some lionesses from the Lake Winter Coalition, which at the time was the strongest coalition in the Ngorongoro crater. There is no doubt that Calamus was taking great risks by daring to enter that area and be with those lionesses from the pride. In April 2023, the Kope lion team received a death signal from Calamus's collar in the bamboo forest of Mount Oldonyo. They found him in poor condition near a large dead buffalo he had been feeding on. He died alone of natural causes after a successful life full of adventure, vitality, and strength. This great king departed this world in peace at the age of about 13. Thus ended the life of one of the strongest, most beautiful, and largest lions in Tanzania. We hope his genes soon reappear in the reserve, and that his remarkable legacy continues to spread across the land, allowing Calamus's legacy to live on forever.
No one can surpass it. It is the largest ever recorded. Its capabilities and strength are astonishing, competing in size with the modern African lion, making it the most dangerous and terrifying species among its kind. In a world full of large and small dogs of all kinds, seeing a German Shepherd gives an impression of grandeur to most observers. But now imagine facing a much larger dog, a wild predator ready to attack anything that threatens it. Prepare to take a journey through time, to explore the depths of prehistoric ages and discover the largest dog that ever walked the earth. Today, we tell the amazing story of the true giant among dogs, known as Epicyon haydeni. Over time, dogs have been companions to humans, evolving from wild wolves to the diverse breeds we know today. In all their shapes and sizes, whether large or small, weak or strong, they hold a special place in our lives. Breeds like the Great Dane and English Mastiffs impress with their size and strength, but despite their grandeur, they do not come close to the giant canines that inhabited our planet millions of years ago. To understand this, we need to understand their evolution before delving into the past. To appreciate the magnificence and strength of the ancient canines, we first need to place them in the context of the dogs we know today. Imagine walking alongside a Great Dane, one of the largest domestic dog breeds ever. These dogs can reach heights of 76 to 86 centimeters at the shoulders and weigh between 54 and 90 kilograms. Their stature and elegance make them gentle giants in the dog world. Another example is the English Mastiff, known for its strong and muscular build. These dogs can weigh between 68 and 95 kilograms, reaching heights similar to the Great Dane. Their majestic presence and history date back centuries of human companionship. In the wild, there are also large-sized dogs. The gray wolf, for example, is the largest wild dog today. But despite these impressive sizes, modern dogs are dwarfed in comparison to the giants that roamed the earth in ancient times. For millions of years, North America was home to gigantic dogs and enormous predators that dominated their eras. So let's get to know some of these prehistoric giants. We start with the dire wolf, or Canis dirus, which lived during the Ice Age, approximately between 125,000 and 10,000 years ago. It was larger and more powerful than the gray wolf, with an average weight of 70 to 80 kilograms, although some individuals weighed up to 95 kilograms. It was known for its powerful jaws capable of crushing bones, allowing it to make the most of the prey it hunted. This predator roamed the forests of North and South America, coexisting with other giants like mammoths and saber-toothed cats. Before the dire wolf appeared, there was Armbruster's wolf, or Canis armbrusteri, which lived between 1.8 million and 300,000 years ago. As one of the dire wolf's ancestors, Armbruster's wolf was larger, with some individuals weighing around 100 kilograms on average and surpassing that at its peak. Unlike modern wolves, this wolf is believed to have been a solitary hunter, perhaps due to its exceptional size and strength. But all this seems small compared to the true giant that walked the earth during the Miocene epoch, which is Epicyon haydeni, the largest of the dogs. Epicyon haydeni lived between 16 and 5 million years ago, during the Middle and Late Miocene. Imagine an animal that could rival the modern lion in size. Its total length, including the tail, was about 2.4 meters, with a shoulder height between 90 centimeters and 1 meter, dominating vast areas of North America. Its weight averaged 136 kilograms, but estimates suggest that some individuals reached 170 kilograms at their peak. Its jaws were extremely powerful, capable of generating a bite force close to that of the modern jaguar. Its teeth were specialized for cutting meat and crushing bones, indicating a highly aggressive diet. This allowed it not only to hunt large prey, but also to consume parts that other predators could not benefit from. Epicyon haydeni was not only large, it was also a highly efficient predator. It is believed to have been an ambush hunter, combining brute strength and speed to take down large herbivores. In North America, Epicyon haydeni coexisted with other predators and large herbivores of the time, and being at the top of the food chain, it shaped the ecosystem around it. Some researchers believe this animal may be part of the evolutionary lineage of the spotted hyenas we know today, while others refute this idea, claiming that the two animals are unrelated. To understand the size of Epicyon haydeni, we can compare it to other large predators. The African lion, for example, reaches a length of 2.5 meters and weighs between 150 and 250 kilograms. Although Epicyon haydeni did not reach the weight of the largest cats, its size and weight made it close to the weight of the modern lion. Unlike cats, which are usually ambush predators with climbing and jumping skills, Epicyon haydeni combined resilience and striking power, adapting to chasing and taking down large prey. Bite force is a crucial indicator of a predator's strength. Spotted hyenas today are known for their strong jaws, with a bite force of about 1,100 pounds per square inch. This is the pressure exerted when the mouth is closed. The jaguar has the highest bite force among cats, ranging between 1,350 and 2,000 pounds per square inch. Considering that the jaguar is much larger than the spotted hyena or Epicyon haydeni, which had a bite force ranging between 1,500 and 1,800 pounds per square inch, surpassing some tigers and certainly all hyenas. These animals had the ability to reach the bone marrow of their prey, rich in fats and essential nutrients found at the heart of the bone. This was a valuable food source during times of scarcity and enabled them to defend significantly in confrontations with other predators. During the Miocene epoch, North America was a diverse and dynamic ecosystem inhabited by various large animals. Large herbivores like primitive horses, giant deer, hornless rhinoceros, and mastodons roamed the plains and forests. This abundance of prey provided an ideal environment for large predators like Epicyon haydeni. However, it was not alone at the top of the food chain. It competed with saber-toothed cats, primitive bears, and other carnivores for the same resources. This intense competition may have driven the development of unique traits in Epicyon haydeni, such as stronger jaws and larger body size, to outcompete its rivals and ensure its survival. Despite its success as a predator, Epicyon haydeni eventually disappeared. The reasons for its extinction are still under study, but several theories have been proposed. One possibility is that climate change during the late Miocene altered habitats and prey availability. As the global climate became drier and cooler, forests retreated and grasslands expanded, changing the ecosystems to which Epicyon haydeni had adapted. Prey began to dwindle, and predators succumbed to hunger and scarcity of prey. This paved the way for more specialized and adaptable predators, possibly smaller and more flexible, like the gray wolves. Additionally, the evolution of herbivores played a critical role in predator history. Herbivores may have developed better defenses, such as greater speed or herd behavior, making hunting more challenging for these large animals. The existence of a large dog like Epicyon haydeni challenges our perceptions of evolutionary boundaries and potential adaptations within the Canidae family. It shows us that nature can produce remarkable creatures and that evolution often follows unexpected paths. The journey to uncover more details about the largest dog that walked the earth is still long, and science has much more to uncover. Studies are not yet complete, and many questions require answers. Digital reconstructions attempt to depict what Epicyon haydeni looked like in its physical form millions of years ago. However, these attempts remain not entirely accurate, but give us a glimpse of this ancient giant.